On May 12, 2004, the manga Soul Eater by Asuya Kubo will get serialized in Shonen Jump, and from the second hit publication, it became a massive hit even among Eastern and Western fans, inspiring fame from both sides of the world. It will be due to little fame that the manga will get an anime adaptation and a variety of games. Out of these games, one of them we call an obscure title, even among PS2 games, called Soul Eater Battle Resonance. And today, I want to see if this game was truly worth being forgotten. Soul Eater Battle Resonance is a 2.5D fighting game published by Bandai Namco and released on the PS2 and PSP on January 29th, 2009. The game features several modes like single player mode, which houses arcade, free battle, and team battle. In arcade, you go through the roster of characters until you get to the final boss, Medusa, whereupon being her, you finish the mode. That will be true for anybody else. Unless you're him. Yes, him. The one who said that throughout heaven and earth, he alone is the honored one. That's right, I'm talking about the myth, the legend, Excalibur. Okay. I just can't. Oh my god. Okay. So after fighting Medusa, he goes on to fight Death himself. Why is he fighting Death? I don't really know. They're pretty good friends in the anime, but when it comes to him, all forms of logic goes out the window. So after that, you got free battle mode, which is just your standard versus mode that lets you change the match settings like the time. And then you have team mode, which is a mode where you create a team of 3 from the roster and go against other teams in a battle 3v3. Next is versus mode, which houses the same modes as single player mode, aside from the fact that instead of fighting a computer, you can fight other people through couch co-op. And then here's the big one, adventure mode. In this mode, you go to the first 21 episodes of the Soul Eater anime through a series of missions. This leads me to dive into the overall plot of Soul Eater, which revolves around students attending a school called Death Weapon Meister Academy, or DWMA, which is what you guess is overseen by Death himself as his headmaster. The main mission of the school is to have Meisters and a race of humans who can turn into weapons called Death Weapons learn how to work together to fight against the evils of their world called the Kishin. I'll take a moment to clarify that though the game follows closest to the anime than the manga, the game's story stops before the anime completely diverges from the main plot of the manga, so you wouldn't be missing much if your first exposure to Soul Eater was through the game. You would just need to choose to continue with the manga or the anime, which has a different canon after episode 36. Resuming from that, the roster and mechanics of the game are highly reflective of the series. The roster features 21 characters with 13 grouped into 6 Meister and weapon teams. The game features 11 stages, and the gameplay is a traditional fighting game with light, medium, and heavy attacks, along with motion inputs for special moves. What the game does to separate itself is by having a dedicated charge button for the special meter. You can also charge the meter by pressing R1 and R2 after doing a combo, after which, when it's full, you do a cinematic special move to finish the round. Since I can count the number of characters in the game with 3 hands, I might as well do a little bit of a roll call. You got the dual-wielding Death the Kid and his weapons, the Thompson sisters Liz and Patty. You got the Scythe wielder Mako Alborn and her weapon Soul Eater. You get the goat Blackstar and his multi-tool weapon Tsubaki. And then you have Krona and his weapon Ragnar. You got Sid Barrett and his weapon Mira Nigus. You got Mifune the Samurai, Blair the Witch, Frankenstein the Scientist, Free the Werewolf, Medusa the Witch, Oxford and his weapon Harvard. You got Excalibur himself. You got Death himself, and Asura the main villain. That's all when it comes to basics, but the controls are more in depth than what's presented. But you would never know that because of the lack of a practice mode or any form of tutorial in the game. There isn't even a move list in the game, so if you want to learn how the game works, your only option is pulling up guides and videos. And aside from a few missions in adventure mode that teach you the basics, the hand holding quickly stops and you're just left to figure things out on your own. It also doesn't help that you can't replay some missions, so if you want to do the practice missions again, you have to start a whole new save file. This type of setup might work for standard arcade fighters, but when it comes to a game with deeper mechanics than just standard motion inputs, it helps have options that let you actually learn them. Overall, if I had to give this game a score, I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10, The controls are stiff, the roster is small, and the lack of practice mode really brings down my enjoyment of the game. The only pros that I can point out about the game is that it at least has a story mode, and the gameplay for the characters are reflective to how they fight in the series. That aside, I can see why this game isn't really talked about even among the most obscure of anime games. Like, I see more videos talking about the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game for the PS2 than this game. But, you know what? I'll see that for another day. Thank y'all for checking in.